So outside of the PBD podcast, where you're like one of my favorites on there, you got your own Biz Doc podcast where you go through case studies, but your tagline is, "I hope to leave you better than I found you." What's the genesis of that tagline?
I was trying to find back when I did my first case study, and Patrick said, "Hey, why don't you do case studies? You've shared with me you do case studies when you teach." I was an adjunct professor at Biola, guest lecturer at Pepperdine. I've done guest lectures at Anderson, believe it or not, in LA. And I was searching for, do I just say thank you? Do I just say thank you, good night, like walk off stage, I sat there and I said, wait a minute, what's my goal? Well, my goal is to leave them with something. And I said, well, I hope I leave them something better than they showed up with. And then I was thinking, I said, leave them, but I hope I left you better than I found you. And it came from my desire. One of my core superpowers is to be able to teach or simplify. One of my favorite people in the Bet David Consulting sales team calls me the master simplifier. And I thought that was just a great compliment because it's actually what I try to do. Why don't you make the simple or the new or the complex even more simple so that they can apply it and remember it? And so as I think through that, and I said, wow, I hope I left you better than I found you, which also goes to my desire in teaching, which also comes from my faith. I have a close relationship with a Jewish carpenter that turned 12 simple guys into his core team and changed the world. And so when I say, I hope I left you better than I found you, it's also a challenge back to myself to live out my faith by serving others and delivering for them.
Awesome. Think back early in your career. When you were kind of coming up, did you have any insecurities that you felt like being in a room with somebody who had massive success that you were either, mentoring or you're part of a team that was giving like strategic advice to? And if so, how did you overcome those?
So I think we all in our life have, our own insecurities. My first job out of school was in sales with a division, of IBM. And actually they had sold that division to another company, but it was IBM sales basically. My internship was with IBM. I get this job. IBM kind of sold the division to another company, but it was all IBM, sales. And they taught you to be poised, be polite, don't be too impressed, and be respectful. And don't let them look at you as a 24-year-old kid. Let them look at you as an IBM sales representative who is on the ball and there. And I had, fake it till you make it, maybe a little bit. But I would say overall, it was something that I had to learn because early on in my career, I was kind of intimidated. I was maybe too impressed with their success. How can I say that I was anything other than normal? But what did I do with it? And where did I put those feelings to just say, hi, my name's Tom Ellsworth. I'm with IBM. You're expecting me? And walk in with confidence and saying, I'm with IBM. I assume you're expecting me. And that little piece there, I assume you're expecting me, is not cocky, but look how it puts you in the feeling of you're valuable and you're going into a meeting. Not only was it a valuable way to train your reps to talk to a client, it's also a great way to teach your reps to feel positive about themselves and their value to the conversation they're about to have.
That's great advice. That confidence you had, that really paid off for where you are. But think of like maybe a failure that you've had early on. Does anything come to mind where, man, the outcome wasn't what I was expecting. I wasn't able to be successful in this instance, but you learned from it. You were able to pivot, and then from there, took you in a direction that you didn't see coming.
Yep. So I had, one of my odd college jobs is I did motorsports photography, PR. Didn't always get paid for it. Part of it I did as passion. Once or twice I did get paid for it. But what was interesting about it, I had all these amazing photographs I learned from the super professionals. I had a great library of work, and my daughter, really likes a couple of them, and they're on the wall of her room. And it's like racing pictures. And, people say, what's that? I said, my dad did that. And this is before Photoshop, where you either got the picture right or you didn't. So it's just wonderful. And I took all these pictures and I said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to create a publishing company. I'm going to sell these pictures. So I took all these pictures and made a catalog. I put an ad in motorsports magazines. I started getting all these letters in there, and people wanted the catalog. They would pay me $5 for the catalog and then buy the pictures from me. This was great, right up until the moment that I got a letter from the owner and the license holder of IndyCar Racing and the Indianapolis Motor Speedway that said they were pissed and disappointed that I was basically making money off their copyright. And far as they could tell, I didn't have a licensing agreement like some of the motorsports magazines. And so I did what any good entrepreneur would do. I folded the letter and I stuck it there in my desk, and I waited then to write a second time, this time from a lawyer that said cease and desist. So I'm like, I learned an important lesson there: clear all your copyrights. But it also showed me something else, that if you don't go in fully prepared and you're not really an expert of your space, you're going to trip and fall. I also had a digital publishing company that I completely did not really understand, Amazon's ability to exert market power. And so they kind of picked winners with a lot of publishers. And so that one did okay. Product market fit, traction, got off the ground, did some really good work with it, but it didn't fly high like I wanted it to. And at the end of the day, I sold the book list and everything to another publisher. But that also told me that, knowing distribution and the market power of that distribution is critical. So both of them, I have lessons that I still carry with me today.
Real interviews, real guests, no actors. Real talk, get prepared for free factor.